Hey, everybody, welcome to New World Workforce, where we examine the latest trends having an impact on the way we earn our money and live our lives. I'm Nakia Edwards, HCC's Executive Director of Adult Education, with my co-host, HCC TV's Parrish Murphy, who's going to tell everyone how to find us. Parrish?
Hey, Nakia, how you doing today, man?
Doing quite well, sir.
You can find us through social media on our social media platforms, on Houston Community College District Facebook page, also on YouTube. We're also on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, and we're also on HCC TV. You can also download an audio version of our shows for listening on the go at hccs.edu/podcast. That's hccs.edu/podcast.
Awesome. Thanks, Parrish.
Absolutely.
So, one lesson we all took away from the COVID pandemic was the importance of a strong logistics chain to take products from producer to consumer safely, securely, and promptly. Today, we'll look at HCC's logistics program and its partners in the community. We're joined first by Rebecca Roberts, the CEO, and Gonzalo Longoria, Terminal Manager with All Points Warehouse. Hello and welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, guys. Glad to be here, part of this podcast.
Awesome, and it's so glad to have you. Now, my first question to you is, tell us in layman's terms, what services All Points Warehouse provides, and tell us it's more than just shelves for stuff, right?
We are definitely more than just storage.
Right.
So Gonzalo and we started the company back in 2011, and our warehousing started with hand in hand with transportation. We've been in the business for over 20 years. So this particular model started, as I mentioned, in 2011, and we've just been growing since then. What we do offer now are several media of transportation, along with our warehousing. We have intermodal containers, which are containers that we pick up out of the Port of Houston and bring over to our warehouse. And that is the mainstream revenue that we have. And we also do last mile delivery. So when a container comes into our warehouse and we transload the contents out of the container, take the empty container back to the port, then we have dry vans to deliver to the final destination. And then we also have what's called heavy haul, which we move around machinery, construction equipment on that type of transportation platform. Gonzalo actually works with the warehousing, so he has various products of cargo that we do house here at the warehouses. Gonzalo, you want to go ahead and give a breakdown of what we?
More or less, we've tried to, when you go get a suit made and you have a tailor and you have to go dry clean somewhere else, that's an inconvenience. We've tried to create a model where we're a one-stop shop for all our customers. So the freight will come in internationally and we handle delivery domestically as well, as she mentioned. But the goods vary from, motorcycles, vehicles. There's nothing we won't put our hands on, because if you can give your customer all of the answers, then you're their answer. They'll call on you every time, the first time. And it's this industry that's created a lull in the words, the customer's always right, because it's our job to educate our customers. In this industry, they're not right. The only thing that they're right on is by calling on us, and we'll handle it from there. Yes. And we move specialized equipment on our hydraulic trailers. So we do work sites, we get to see buildings being built. We take all the scissor lifts, bulldozers. Far, wide, and in between. If it's logistical, we'll move it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. There's no way people can fathom the amount of stuff that goes in these warehouses, and the important part of keeping them so organized to the point where every last item, where it's at and where it's located. So tell me how you partnered with HCC to bring along this new talent in All Points Warehouse.
Oh, no, that's fun. So HCC, I'm also an alumnus for HCC. Of course, being a mother, and a woman in the workforce, my education actually came at night. So 97, 98, 99, I was at HCC downtown, gathering my education while I was working at the University of Texas Health Science Center at that particular time. And it just, of course, you know, the education that I received from HCC was very important to me to further support the education going forward. It's very, our employees, we encourage them to seek further education. So that's really important for us. Now, we met up with HCC through various networking events, the Easton Chamber of Commerce. And so while we were there, I connected with HCC and asked them if they had any type of mentorships. And they say yeah, we definitely do. And I said, well, you know what? We're in logistics. We're like the third part of logistics. You have the manufacturing part, the orders and whatnot. And once they hit the Port of Houston, that's where we pop in and, you know, bring it to a transitioning area, whether we're delivering it to the distribution centers or bringing it here to the warehouse to transload. And so a lot of the logistics students that I've talked to over the last 3 years, they're in all phases of transportation. So I thought it would be a good idea to get with HCC, bring someone over, and so they can be in a real-time environment and understand what they're exactly getting into. I can tell you logistics is 365, 24/7. So if you're interested in logistics, you know, you have to have that marriage. You have to have that understanding. This guy here, you know, he'll get phone calls 24/7, 365. It does not stop ringing.
Look, that port never stops bringing in cargo either. So I can understand the importance of that freight coming in from all around the country and off the water as well. So I know it's just it's something that is you know, that's not talked about a lot, but it is a very important aspect and thing that goes into our society that is very much needed. So we appreciate all of what you're doing, and look, it's been awesome kind of hearing about All Points Warehouse. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Rebecca Roberts, Gonzalo Longoria with All Points Warehouse. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll get some insight into logistics from perspective of HCC.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens. Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to New World Workforce. I'm Parrish Murphy. We're joined by Shari Carter. She is the director of HCC's Logistics and Global Supply Chain Management Program. How are you doing today, Shari?
Great, Parrish. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Now, I want to jump right in. Can you just tell me what logistics actually is?
Well, logistics is very large and vast because it includes moving our gross domestic products all over the world, right? As well as logistics services. And so by doing all of that, right, we have a lot of technologies that make the logistics move all over the world. We have a lot of data systems. We have a lot of advanced technology systems. And so it's all about moving people and gross domestic products all over the world. And so that's kind of a very large umbrella of what logistics and supply chain is all about.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to just kind of give everybody just, a general definition of it, because we hear it all the time and we act like we know what we know what it means. We don't. So I just want a little bit of clarification for me, and everyone else. Now, can you describe the logistics and global supply chain management program?
Absolutely. So logistics and global supply chain program here currently at HCC has a general Associate of Applied Science degree award. It also has a concentration degree of maritime transportation logistics, but we also have a certificate to each of those degree programs. So a student can come to us and say, I kind of understand a little bit about logistics, how things move around the world, but I really want to make a career. So we always encourage students to start out if they, are exploring in those certificates so they can get started with business logistics and all the foundational courses in the certificate, and then continue to stack into those degree awards for the AAS degree. And so that's really how the program's structured currently. And we offer the degree programs. Currently, we have Maritime Logistics and Transportation in Southeast Campus College, and we also have it as a degree in other campuses as well. And so we also offer it in person, hybrid, and online modalities. And so that's kind of a big picture of the program.
Okay. Now, from a certification standpoint, are there multiple certifications? There are multiple certifications that these students can earn, correct?
Absolutely. So in our program currently, on both sides, so I always want to advocate for my continuing education colleague, Dr. Vasquez, as well. And so on the continuing education side, we also have what we call the Certified Logistics Associate and Certified Logistics Technician, as well in our academic program. And so we have it in our certificate and our degree as well. And so a student can come and get that fast track on the continuing education, get certified, become that logistics technician, material handling career person, or they can come into the program after taking that short fast track program into the credit side and continue on in a certificate and their degree. So we do have those certifications currently right now, but we are embarking on industry partnerships with our advisory board and other local industry partners like All Points Warehouse, that we bring other industry certifications into the program. And so we can talk about those in a minute too, if you want to.
Absolutely.
So I'm pretty excited about what's the future. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's a great thing. Now, what kind of jobs, Shari, are available in the industry?
Well, in the industry, from an entry level to a mid-level, we can look at logistics coordinators, and, there could be logistics analyst positions out there. We have import, export specialist coordinators, cargo, freight agents, working in a warehouse, moving material, and also working in the inventory of the warehouse or the distribution center or a fulfillment center. There's a lot of different positions. And of course, then the higher level positions would be managers or supervisors. But also we want to make sure we mentioned all the advanced technologies that's going on in these types of, facilities that are moving cargo, freight, and moving, items all over the world, that we've now got another mode of transportation called the internet. And so in that, we have software systems that we can educate students, and we're bringing into the program so they can have a niche certification to operate in those positions as well. Yeah.
Now, obviously there are levels to this. You talked about management and things of that nature, but what is the earning potential for someone getting in this particular industry?
Well, getting into this industry, you know, so in entry level, I think it's comfortable to say, depending on the position description, that, you know, students people in, you know, the industry wanting to maybe change could be looking at, you know, 40 some thousand to 54,000 to as high as 67,000 as they graduate with the degree. With industry certifications that are going to be offered in that degree as well. So that way they have some niche skills coming out as well as the degree.
Great. Now, artificial intelligence has become a very, very big thing, and it's about to impact our lives very, very seriously. What impact has that had on logistics and what you guys do?
Well, I mean, artificial intelligence is, you know, across a lot of things. The advanced technologies I mentioned, you know, there's going to be the robotics, there's the drones. I mean, there's a lot of artificial intelligence in software systems, right? Being able to monitor, you know, buying habits and just all kinds of different nuances that bring about ways to understand your customer and being able to support your customers' requirements. And so, I mean, there's still a lot that are still being learned at this time for artificial intelligence, and we're still continuing to really embark on, you know, where is it going to cut in and bring the impactfulness across logistics and the supply chains.
That's great. Now, why are partnerships with companies like All Points Warehouse so vital to your program?
Well, I had met Rebecca at the East Chamber of Commerce, where we did an education summit there. And I had been asking industry to partner with me. And why it's so important is we're educating individuals in logistics and supply chain for a career. And to bridge industry is to understand what industry needs and to understand how they can provide these positions to our students while the students are in school through internships. So they're learning how this knowledge is then being applied. And so I think it's so critical that we build this bridge even tighter and more successful with the internships. So our students are actually applying on a regular weekly basis, what they're learning in the classroom to how industry and different commodities are actually doing their logistics and their supply chains.
Oh, wow, that's great. Now, what enhancements are you planning for this upcoming academic year?
So we have taken on a goal of curriculum academic enhancement in this program, muchly needed. As I mentioned earlier, the you know, industry 4.0 technologies and the way that the transformation of how, you know, businesses are needing to work much more productive than ever before to meet the just in cause. You know, we say just in time, but we also want to say now just in cause there in case there's an, you know, unknown situation that arises that they have to adapt to and what have not. And so I just think it's critical that we continue to have a goal of enhancement, looking at our advisory board, including more industry advisory board members that want to help us mold the department for this future transformation of 4.0 technologies. And so what we're looking at, and we have multiple industry partners that are now joining us to say, we want to be a part of this. And so with that, they're bringing their skills and saying, this is the talent skills we need. They may be technical skills and they may be soft skills. And so we've taken that in for an advisement, and now we've start to put together a proposal for, and, you know, changing some academic curriculum enhancements. So we've got some enhancements that we're doing internally, and then we have some partnerships that we've built with industry partners like freight forwarding companies for the future. So we're pretty excited about where we're headed, and a lot of work internally on enhancing our courses, bringing those industry certifications into the educational platform for our students. So then they can have a niche certification plus a degree, plus hopefully an internship or an apprenticeship.
That's great. You know, I love how we are just so proactive. Just the HCC, you know, school, everybody is so proactive because I think they get it now. You know, I think one of the problems with college now is it's become big business, and really it's not functioning. I mean, back when Jesus was around and I was in school, you know, colleges had to build you they had to teach you how to get a job. But now I think that's evolved. And I think now colleges, I think they have to prepare you how to create a job now more so than work for a company. Do you find that to kind of be true?
Yeah, I do. I think it's building better pathways where, you know, we're so much more connected to understanding the industry trends and being able to counsel and advise students on certain careers and pathways that they can embark on, right? So you can see up here, I say, if you can dream it, you can do it. It's about what you're saying, is the individuals looking and saying, what is it that I really enjoy doing? And making a commitment to make it a career and go after it.
Now, we talked about, you talked about internships, but you guys also do apprenticeships, which are much longer. And for me, I think they're much more beneficial because if you're doing something 1 to 3 years, you know, not only do you have a knack for it, but you're physically learning the industry. Talk to us about the importance of the internships and how HCC facilitates that.
Okay, great. Yes. So another goal that we had set for ourselves is the apprenticeships. And so, you know, apprenticeships are programs that, you know, the federal government support, and they're very structured, and they're structured on job positions, but they can be tailored. And so that's where we're getting with industry, and industry has come to HCC and said, we want to build this apprenticeship model. We want a couple of years. We want, you know, students to have certain competencies and skills. Of course, it's all driven by that position, job position. But with that, we've sat down and we continue to have working groups with 2 large freight forwarding companies, Jazz and Fraught Inc. And we're developing the freight forwarding apprenticeship. So one of the companies wants 1 year and the other company wants 2 years. And so it's really taking our curriculum and tailoring, molding it, so that way we're meeting the educational requirements for those companies with freight forwarding.
Okay.
Of course, we're opening up the doors to any other industries, similar to All Points Warehouse. I've spoken with Rebecca about internships and apprenticeships, because then that way the student, right, has an agreement that's a little bit longer than what we have internships usually for. They're usually shorter, but the apprenticeship is more of a commitment and it's longer. So I think that it's the better bridge to having an educational platform that is built to industry career. So that way that business then gets to have that individual in their agreement of employment to education at the same time. And so it's pretty exciting, because listening to the industry partners that we're working with currently, you just constantly hear that theme of, we want them to have a career. We want them to have that mindset of a career, and building the career, not just in the interim of short term, but long term.
Sounds good. And I agree with you 100%. I do think the apprenticeships are so much better because you're physically training them to do what they want to do. And once they get into that, they can also go into further things, you know, management and things of that nature, where they can really make more money. Now, do you think that, well, I guess I should say, do you have to wait until you're in college to actually start this? Or can you do it? Can you do something out of high school working with logistics? Or maybe
Absolutely.
in high school, maybe you can take your first steps and get your feet wet. What's the process of that?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to encourage all high school students, if you don't know what you want to do, you're missing at looking at logistics and supply chain, you can come to HCC, you can take a continuing education course, but we do have dual credit programs. We have a couple of high schools right now that have maritime logistics, and the other department or the other dual credit program has logistics certificate, and they're offering that education to those high school students. And so I think it's a great opportunity at the high school level to really, really understand what is logistics and supply chain, because there is just so many different skills, niche skills that you can do across logistics and supply chain. Whether you want to be, a material handler or a forklift driver, or you want to work in the warehouse and inventory, you want to drive a truck, right? And so Rebecca mentioned her trucking side of things, right? So, I mean, there's just so much to offer young youth to get started in logistics and supply chain and continue to grow it and grow it. And so I empower HISDs to have, curriculum working groups together to see how they could build their TEKs into creating a dual credit program, because that way we're getting students at the much younger age to explore what is logistics and supply chain and how do they see themselves in this career field.
That is absolutely awesome. Listen, Shari, thanks for being on the show, and please keep continuing to do the good work. Keep continuing to do it. I'm always amazed at how many incredible people that we have working here at HCC and the great job that you guys do. Please keep doing what you're doing, and let's talk again. I'd love to talk to you and find out what we're doing, later on, and maybe 6 months or something like that, and just kind of find out how the logistics, things that we're doing are really, are really good moving forward.
Okay, great. Thank you, Parrish. It's my passion after 30 years that it's all about the student success.
That's good, but it's wonderful to have, passionate instructors like that, because, I know that a lot of my good instructors that I had in college, when I started doing radio and television, they were very impactful in helping me do, what I'm doing. So please keep doing it, Shari.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all for having us today. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. Her name is Shari Carter, and she is Director of Logistics and Global Supply Chain Management Program here at HCC. If you'd like more information on the people and organizations featured today, check the post on our social media platforms and YouTube. To download a copy of our audio podcast version of the show, visit hccs.edu/podcast. That is hccs.edu/podcast. For my co-host, Nakia Edwards, and all the great people here at HCC TV who helped put this together, I'm Parrish Murphy. Thank you for joining us on New World Workforce. We'll see you next time.